Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, Sonic Yoda from SEGADriven.com, and welcome back to the Sega Driven YouTube channel. Now we're talking about weird AtGames Mega Drive clones again. Now before we start this, I just want to say that these devices are officially licensed by Sega. I don't know if I've made that clear before, but these are not knockoffs, these are not dodgy things that you buy from someone down the market. These are real Sega licensed systems, so keep that in mind when we talk about this system. This was something that Sega signed off on, they were happy with, they put their games, their branding on it, and they were fully on board basically. So let's talk about the Reactor, the Mega Drive Reactor. This is a system from 2010, and as you can see it's got a bit of a stand-up form factor with a wireless controller. Yeah, I'm sure you're recognizing what this is based on. So this is trying to capitalize on the motion control craze that the Wii brought about. So we've got a motion controlled Mega Drive clone. The actual games itself are not motion controlled, the Mega Drive ones anyway. There are some games on here and some software that make use of motion controls, but this is using infrared sensors. So as you can imagine, the motion control on this ain't so hot. So this is based on a system called the Zone 40 that was released in 2009, and all of the software from the Zone 40 are included on this as well as some additional sort of AtGames software. So we've got 20 Mega Drive games on here, as well as I think it's 12 or 14 sort of AtGames and Tech Toy originals, which help sort of make it a little bit more of an enticing prospect. There's more games on this, but they're all very sort of simplistic, kind of what you'd expect from Atari 2600, the sort of thing that you could literally pick up and play, learn without any sort of instructions. You can just have a muck around and you can suss out the rules there and then. You don't really need to go in and consult the instruction manual. Whereas the Mega Drive games are a little bit more involved, and the motion controlled sports games are make actual use of the controller, and you have to move around to interact with the games. However, as we'll find out, the actual actions and the things that you can do don't require anything more than just what you would use a button press for, because this is infrared. All it can do is break the infrared beam and register an input. So you can do that via pressing a button or by moving the controller around. It's very simplistic. It doesn't have the nuance of something like the Wii, and you sure as hell can't move around a cursor on the screen, because this is basically a TV remote. All you're doing is breaking an infrared sensor. So yeah, whether you do that via button press or via moving a beam around is basically all you have an option to. So let's plug this thing in. I will point the camera at the television and show you exactly what we can do with this and what is included and how well it works as a system. Let's do this. So here we go. The console is plugged in and all set up. We've got action here, and as you can see, the little red IR sensor is on the front there. Interestingly, the remote appears to always be sending out an IR signal. You can see that little red light flashing there, and we've got an IR sensor there. We've got one on the front, we've got one somewhere else, I think. Oh, there's one on the side there as well. So yeah, it's basically always sending signals to the IR sensor, which is I think how it detects motion, because as it's always sending out, as long as you're break the connection with the IR sensor, that will register an input. But we also do have face buttons as well, so you will see how we interact with things. So we've obviously got a selection of Mega Drive games. The arcade games are basically AtGames or Tech Toy originals, developed well after the Mega Drive's decease. Yeah, they're all very simplistic and very easy to pick up. You can literally just look at the screen and figure out how the game works. And then obviously we have the interactive sports games, which make use of the motion control. I say motion very lightly. So let's have a look at the Mega Drive games first, because obviously that's what you're here for. So we've got Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, Altered Beast, Arrow Flash, Bonanza Brothers, Shakan the Forever Man, Comic Zone, Crackdown, Echo the Dolphin, eSWAT, Fatal Labyrinth, and then we've also got Flicky, Game Ground, why is this on everything? Golden Axe, Duel Master, Kid Chameleon, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Shinobi 3 The Return of Ninja Master, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic Hedgehog Spinball, and the Ooze. Now let's go into something we're mainly familiar with. We'll always use the Sonic game if we can, just because most people know Sonic, right? And how it should sound and how it should play. I'm going to turn the sound up a bit. Oh dear. Sound is out of pitch. It's running too slow, which makes me think this is a NTSC ROM running in PAL 50 Hz, which ain't too great. But, you know, it's pretty responsive. But it works better for games like this, where there's only sort of one input, which is jump. Because if we have a look at the controller for a moment, you will notice that the C button is on the left here, and X, Y, and Z are at the top there as well. So this is a 6-button Mega Drive controller, but the inputs are mapped weird. So, for example, if we play Shinobi, you'll notice that I have to press that to jump, which is not particularly comfortable when you really want it on the face. So you kind of need to go and change the controller settings for a lot of these games, because now I have to press B there to attack and C like that. Oh, it's bad. It's not good. So yeah, this does not work unless you change the inputs very well for certain games. But yeah, the more simplistic games that have like one input and all the face buttons do the same thing, like Sonic, perfectly usable. But yeah, this stuff, we need to muck around with the controls to make that a little bit more comfortable and put like jump on one of the face buttons. So yeah, not too good there. So the arcade games then, yeah, like I say, very simplistic, not a particularly impressive set of games. But they're all Mega Drive games. You could easily sort of dump these ROMs and run them on actual Mega Drive hardware. But they're all very simplistic and based on stuff that you're already aware. Warehouse Keeper's obviously a Soccer Band clone. Naval Power is basically Battleship. Mr. Balls has the most hilarious name of any video game I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, it's all very simplistic, sort of chess, checkers, all that sort of stuff. Mahjong, matching tile puzzle game. Yeah, you get the idea. Now then, the real fun is in the interactive sports games, which are supposedly motion controlled. These are a little bit more advanced, and as a result, the sound and stuff is better sampled. Don't think these are running on Mega Drive hardware as such. But yeah, there's, you know, typical tennis, table tennis, golf, fishing, football, swimming, bowling, boxing, badminton, darts, basketball, fencing, curling, beach volleyball, Sword of Warrior, which appears to be a sort of beat 'em up, so we've got to try that. Baseball, and that's your lot. Yeah, let's try Sword of Warrior. I'm very intrigued as to how this is going to work. Right, okay. Okay, let's put it in easy because this is going to be hard work. Okay, yeah, so it is somewhat three-dimensional, and then I literally shake the controller at the Wii to make things happen. Sorry, not the Wii, the reactor, because that is what this is. But I don't appear to have to do it directly at the controller because of all the different IR sensors coming out of it. So as long as it's making a connection. Did you hear that sound effect? That's a Sonic sound effect. Yeah, this is very simplistic. But do you know what? It works. As long as it's making a connection with the IR sensor. So you've got to have a clear line of sight to the console basically to make these things work. Ooh, this is bad. But you know, I'm doing stuff. Motion control is limited, but it's not really motion. You could literally just have a face button and it could do the same sort of thing. And look at that. One of the face buttons does do the actions that the motion control does also. So, making this entirely pointless. Oh, that's really daft. let's try something else. So tennis and table tennis are very much like what you'd expect this sort of thing to be to do well, and it's basically a clone of, you know, Wii Sports Tennis or something like that. It does the job, you know. Okay, so yeah, I'm just waggling to return the ball basically, and it does what it says on the tin, really. Yeah, you play a game of tennis.
Round 15.
Hey! Very simplistic. Now, the one I really want to show is this golf game, right? Because I started playing this and I'm like, hold on, this is a bit cheeky, and I don't know if Sega signed up on this or even bothered to check. But yeah, all the graphics from this, they may seem familiar. Have you ever played Neo Turf Masters? Because the developers of this game certainly have. Yeah, all the graphics appear to have been ripped directly from Neo Turf Masters. Motion, motion, motion. There we go. Yeah. This is, you know, a motion control golf game, but all the graphics appear to have been ripped from Neo Turf Masters, and nobody has been credited as such. Oh boy, a little bit cheeky there. I don't know if Sega would have been too happy about that. But yeah, I just thought that was a bit funny. There's graphics ripped completely from a different game, and not a Sega game at that as well. So yeah, I don't know whether SNK really want to get on the blower to Sega and sort out some fees that they're owed, but I think they're definitely owed something. So there we go, that's the AtGames SEGA Mega Drive Reactor, a Mega Drive on a chip mixed with a weird Wii clone system, and it has an IR controlled motion control setup. It's not really motion control, you're literally just breaking a beam using the IR sensor to make sort of actions happen, and they're the same actions that can happen via a button press, which it also includes on the controller, making the motion control entirely redundant. Yeah, it's an absolute piece of junk, but what a fascinating thing. I've known about this for quite a while and I just had to own one. It's just so daft. It cost me like a tenner with postage. It is not that of impressive a system, but the fact that this is an officially licensed Sega product is, whoa, that's crazy. And like I say, with that golf game in particular, ripping off Neo Turf Masters graphics, oh dear, that could have been a lawsuit and a half. But I don't think this sold particularly well, and I don't think SNK are really going to be that bothered in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, that's a thing that exists, and hoo boy, that Mega Drive software done off run pretty badly. Yeah, like I say, sound emulation is terrible. It's all running too slow because I think it's NTSC ROMs running at 50 Hz, and they're not optimized. So yeah, this isn't the best way to play those games, unfortunately, but they do work. But you just have to be prepared to play them at the slower 50 Hz setting. So for us Europeans and anybody in a PAL territory, it's kind of the performance you'd expect, but unfortunately the sound is all wrong as well. So yeah, this is just a mess of a system, but what a fascinating thing to capitalize on the motion control craze of the Wii, and just slap some Mega Drive games in there to make it a little bit more of a substantial gaming bit of hardware is quite an interesting concept, but the execution is not very good. I would not recommend this outside of anybody who's interested in weird clone systems like myself, but oh, that's fascinating. I love that this exists.